Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel and our Unheralded Dynasty. We are in week 7, coming in at 3-2, ready to take on one of the better teams in the Creole Plains Conference, Texas A&M. We're going to wrap up this season and get ready for next season as we start playing games. So it'll be a lot of recruiting, probably a lot of recruiting battles. As you all know, with a one-star school, it's never easy to grab the guys you want, but we're going to see what we can do. Before we get to recruiting, I want to check out the conference standings, so let's jump into that. Okay, the Harbor Conference, led by North Carolina and NC State. Virginia Tech, Marshall doing well, Liberty and Coastal, James Madison doing better than maybe I thought they would, and then some teams down here that are struggling. But looks like a solid conference overall. The Revolution Conference, led by Maryland in conference record, but UConn and Rutgers are kind of pulling their weight nationally. Not the teams I thought would be up here. Rutgers is at 81 overall, UConn at 78, Maryland at 81. And again, we're halfway through the season, so West Virginia, Boston College could still make a run. Pitt, Syracuse, and then Penn State coming in at 2-3 and 1-2 in the conference. So they got some work to do to get out of that hole, but I'm sure they can. The Mid-South Central Conference, led by Missouri, coming in at 4-1 overall, 3-0 in conference. Arkansas behind them. Two solid teams, 85 and 84 overall. Baylor's up there, TCU, Texas. This might be the strongest conference, I think. A lot of mid-80s teams here. Yeah, SMU struggling in conference so far, 1-2. But I'm sure they can dig out of that. Same with Oklahoma. Wouldn't expect to see them here, but I'm sure they'll rise to the top over the season here. And then North Texas coming in at 0-4 in the conference. The Glacier Valley Conference. Illinois pulling ahead in this one. 6-0 overall, 4-0 in conference, number 8 nationally. Wisconsin behind them. Central Michigan gets put up there. They're 75 overall. Iowa State doing solid. Miami's up there, 2-1 in conference. Golden Gophers at 2-1. And then just kind of a lot of average teams here, it looks like, especially Iowa. Just kidding. Iowa's a good team. And then at the bottom, we got Northwestern. 82 overall, but just struggling 0-5 overall, and then 0-3 in conference. Northern Illinois down there, Western Michigan, Ball State. Kind of expected to see the MAC teams down here, but they do have Central Michigan and Miami. And over time, they'll just be a Glacier Valley team. Creole Plains Conference, here we are. Texas State, our rival, 81 overall, 1.5-star program, 5-0 in conference. That's a great start for them. And they beat us, I think, in week 2, maybe technically week 1. So they got the best of us this year, but we can't wait to take them on next year with the success they're having. Texas A&M up there, LSU, not ranked, but 86 overall. Memphis, Louisiana Tech, Tulane. There we are, kind of the middle of the pack. Hopefully we can continue to rise. 2-1 in conference isn't a terrible start. I think we can build off that. And at the bottom, we kind of got Louisiana, Texas Tech, who we ended up beating. They're 1-3 in conference, 2-4 overall. UL and Monroe, I think we expected to see them down here. Arkansas State, and Rice 2-4 overall, but 0-4 in conference. In the Rust Belt Conference, Kentucky coming out on top so far, 4-0 in conference, but Ohio State and Purdue also undefeated and having solid years. Bowling Green's up there, Cincinnati, and then kind of the middle of the road teams here. Toledo, ranked 16th nationally. I wonder who they beat. But 2-2 in conference, 4-2 overall. And then Akron, Louisville, Kent State, Notre Dame, not having a good start to the year. 88 overall, but 0-6. So the conference shakeup has them shook up. In the Mesa Skyline, Colorado State coming out on top with Utah, both at 3-0. UNLV 4-1. UTEP is up there. New Mexico, go Lobos. Lobos will always have a special place in my heart. If you haven't seen my Lobos Dynasty in the NCAA 14 game, there's a playlist. Go check that out if you want to see the beginning days of this channel. After them, we got Boise State, Colorado, New Mexico State doing solid, Arizona, and then bottom teams kind of BYU, Utah State, Wyoming, Arizona State coming in at 0-5. So it seems like we got quite a few old Power 4 programs that are coming in at the bottom of these conferences. So that's interesting. I'm sure some of them will make their way up, but I don't know that all of them can. I mean, that's a big hole to start 0-5, 0-3 in conference. The Golden Cascade Conference, Washington, number 2 in the nation, 4-0 overall. UCLA up there at 3-0. Oregon having a solid year, which you expect. Washington State, maybe a surprise. USC's up there. Nevada, putting a good run together. Then your middle of the road teams here, Stanford, Oregon State, Hawaii. Cal coming in at 0-3. Fresno State, San Diego State, San Jose State. In the Coastal Plains Conference, USF coming in at number 1 overall with 1 loss, 4-0 in conference. Georgia is number 4 overall. So maybe the Coastal Plains is giving the Mid-South Central a run for maybe the strongest conference here. They got a lot of good teams. Georgia's at 3-1 in conference. I wonder if USF beat them. Georgia Tech 3-1. Miami's ranked number 5. Clemson's ranked number 3. South Carolina number 11. Florida's at 1-2 in the conference. Florida State's at 1-2. Kennesaw State, USF, Florida Atlantic, and Florida International. UCF maybe a surprise here. 85 overall, 1-3 in conference, 2-4 overall. And then the Southern Heartland Conference, led by Jacksonville State, 4-0 in conference, 5-1 overall. Tennessee's not far behind, 6-0 overall, 4-0 in conference, 86 overall. Troy is up there, Middle Tennessee State, Southern Miss, Alabama struggling, Auburn struggling, Mississippi State struggling. So this conference shakeup is definitely interesting to see how it's shaking out here. We'll check back maybe on the actual conference standings towards the end of the year. But let's move on. All right, recruiting-wise, week 7, I think as you get closer to week 7, week 8, that's when you see that maybe the bigger programs sign their first wave of players, 5 and 4 stars, and then they start targeting some 3 stars after that. So we got to be aware of guys who have major programs after them. Like Eifert, I'm not too concerned about. It's Air Force. Rashad Wake, maybe not too concerned. Cabral, just because Texas State is leading the conference and they're our rival, we'll maybe get points into him. Lutris, does Washington, Oregon, Ohio State. So we got some big programs there, which maybe tells me that we have to get some points into him as soon as we can. Charbonnet, we can maybe wait on. Same with Rossi here. For Werda, Ohio State, Kansas, TCU, Texas. There's some big programs after for Werda too. Tap, we can maybe wait on. Small, we can maybe wait on. Boone, Kansas State is maybe one we got to keep our eye on. Toner, maybe Texas jumps in. Folk at TCU and Texas. Heaney, Texas State. Lawrence, Texas State. So we may come off some of these guys that we're battling with, just because I think we can maybe make more ground with the guys who don't have anybody else after them, rather than try to battle all season for Heaney. Maybe we allocate those points after someone else who doesn't have anybody else after him. Lawrence, same deal. Madden, he's got Ohio State, Kansas, TCU, Texas, and Oklahoma. So we got to keep an eye on him. Clay, again, maybe a guy we pull off of, although we are making the most ground here. Cookus looks fine. Laporta, maybe LSU. Bavaro, there's Texas. Jasmine and Young, I think we need outside linebackers. I think I'm going to target these guys, add 50 to them. Sparks has, again, Ohio State, Kansas, TCU, Texas. Got to keep an eye on that. Machado, A&M is there. TCU's down there. Halen, maybe somebody we pull off of. We can maybe keep Rust on. Sun, I'm hoping, Northwestern doesn't catch on. Flott, look at South Carolina, Rutgers, Syracuse, even USF at 8. They're number 1 overall. So maybe Flott is somebody. I know he's a 2-star, but maybe somebody we pour more points into. And Amerson, maybe the same thing. With South Carolina right there, Louisville. So we got to make some decisions on who we want to prioritize. I have a general idea. I'm going to take some guys off the board, and we'll maybe add some new guys with nobody after them. So Eifert, we're going to stay. I think we sign him maybe this week or next week. We got a hard sell on him, I think. A clutch. So I think we keep him as is. We sign him this week or next week. Rashad Wake, I think we're going to put more points into, just because I like the athlete centers. I think they're so versatile. Let's see if we can get him a hard sell. He's got an A. All right, prestigious it is. We'll get him to 50. And Cabral is tough here. Let's see. He may have a decent hard sell. He's got an A in there. That usually helps. He's going to be hometown hero, AC, D-. I think that's good enough to get a hard sell going. Then we'll add the DM. And since we're in a recruiting battle with Mario Cabral, let's check in and see what a DM to this player would look like at this stage of recruiting from Coach O'Connell. Mario, Coach O'Connell here. Been studying your film from North Shore, and I'm impressed. Your slot coverage technique, the way you mirror receivers, and your click and close ability on underneath routes is exactly what we're looking for. What really stands out is your football IQ. You recognize route combinations quickly and show exceptional awareness in zone. I followed Houston football for years and know that the elite competition you face has prepared you well. In our controlled chaos defense, we can help you develop into a complete cornerback, expanding your versatility while building on your natural slot skills. With our proximity to home, your family won't miss watching you develop into the player we know you can become. Looking forward to continuing this conversation about how we can help you develop your already impressive skill set. Coach O'Connell. Lutris, I'm not too concerned about right now. I think we'll continue to make ground. We'll see who else we've got, but Washington, Oregon, Ohio State, that'll make me pretty nervous there. Charbonnet, I think, is okay. We said Rossi was good. For Werda, I just don't know. Position-wise, we have to Luke assigned. I think we'll get Eifert. So we have 2 offensive linemen coming in that are good, we know. So we'll maybe leave for Werda for now. Tap is looking okay. Small should be fine. Boone, Toner, Folk. I mean, TCU could, but I think for now we got to wait. I think week 7 might be a little early. I think Heaney, I think we're off on Heaney. To compete with Texas State, we've got these other guys we want to throw points into. I know we got 105, but to get a selling class, I think we got to go more. So Nathan Heaney off our board. Lawrence, I think same thing. I know we're jumping way ahead here with just 10 points, but I think with Madden's here, we got Lutris and Flat O-line, and for Werda. So I think Lawrence can go. We'll take him off. So and now we're opening up spots for new guys that maybe nobody's going after. Again, the unheralded guys that nobody's identified yet. Okay, Clay was another guy I was thinking to pull off of. D-end isn't really in need of ours. We got Tap and Cook is here. We can always move a linebacker down if we need to, even a guy who's on a roster. So I don't think we need to go after him. So we need one left end. That's it. Tap would be there and Cook is. A lot of run stoppers though. But I just don't feel like it's a huge need. So we're off on Evan Clay. D-tackle, I want to bring a JUCO in just because that's our Unheralded Dynasty, right? Bringing in some JUCO guys. So we're going to get him to 50. I think it's somebody we could maybe sign fast. He's a JUCO guy. We're the only team offering. So we'll offer him 50. We got 85 left unless we find somebody else we're going to cut off. Jasmine and Young, I'm going to get to 50. Again, outside linebacker. Let's just double check here. Outside linebacker, we need 2. I think these are our 2 guys we want. Or we technically need 3. But those 2 are where we're going to start. So I'm hoping this 50 will get us into the top 5 next week-ish. And then we can hard sell and really start to pull away. Sparks, athlete run stopper, I think we're going to stay as is. I know Ohio State's there. I think we'll give it another week and kind of see. Machado will keep as is. I know A&M is there. Halen, I think we're going to be off of. I don't think free safety is a huge need of ours. Yeah, I think we're going to be good there. I like the free safeties. We got Sizer, Quintero. So I think we'll be okay if we don't get a free safety this round. So Halen's off. We do have Russ as maybe a backup. Son, I'm hoping we can continue to just move with that. Now Flat, again, a 2-star lineman. I think they turn out to be some of the better players. So we're going to send the house on Flat. See if we can move up his board, get South Carolina off of him or Rutgers, any of those big programs, and go from there. So we got 10 left. And I think our biggest need is corner. So we're gonna throw 10 on Machado, and that's gonna be our board. And then I'm gonna move the guys we signed down to the bottom. They don't need to be in the number 1 spot. I don't know if it does anything. I like to think that number 1 spot means something to the recruit. So we'll get those guys off, and then we'll just kind of prioritize our board here. Okay, so we got our priorities. We got 8 guys. Eifert, again, he's the only guy we're hard selling, I think. Maybe Wake we're hard selling. We got a few. Cabral, we got the hard sell, that's right. So 8 guys total. We're kind of maximizing the points we have. All right, we've got 5 spots to fill. I want to bring in 35 guys with this first class. I think as you take over a program, bringing in 35 guys in the first 2 recruiting classes is big, depending on how your current roster is. But I think bringing in 35 this year and next year, I think that roster turnover is going to help us. So that's the plan, is to bring in 35. So let's go add 5 more guys. I'll go dig them up and I'll show you guys what I find. All right, so here's who I dug up. We got Keenan Trueblood, a slot cornerback out of Newark, Ohio, 6'2", 191. I like the height. I like the weight. Then we got wide receiver athlete Ty Wilkins. He's a physical athlete out of Houston, Texas. I believe we're number 2 on his board already. So that's good. I like that. Then we got George Villano, free safety hybrid. I know a lot of people stay away from hybrids, but I think they've got the best skill set. And I think the way we're going to run our development program, I think he can develop well. And we'll dive into how we develop guys next season. But I like George here. And then we got Corbin Gibson, right tackle out of Reseda, California, 6'5", 305, agile right tackle. I like what I see here. Now, we do got 1 spot open, and that's because we got an email from Al about a cornerback recruit, and cornerback is something we need depth at. But he found Cortez Tutt. Let's see what he has to say about him. Coach O'Connell. Coach Williams from Westlake High in Atlanta reached out yesterday about his cornerback, Cortez Tutt. He said, "I've been coaching 15 years and rarely make these calls, but this kid deserves a shot that the rankings aren't giving him. After watching his film and making some background calls, I understand why Coach Williams is so passionate about this player. Cortez embodies everything we look for in our Unheralded Dynasty." Quick profile. 1-star cornerback, 5'11", 177, slot corner tendency, 3-year varsity starter, team captain as a senior, currently ranked number 228 among cornerbacks nationally. Film evaluation. His athletic profile shows truly impressive measurables for an overlooked prospect. He's got very good straight line speed for a cornerback, which gives him valuable recovery ability when tested deep. His lateral quickness is good, allowing him to change directions efficiently in coverage. When it comes to transitions, he's above average. You can see how he flips from back pedal to drive with minimal wasted motion. In man coverage, he shows an adequate foundation, but definitely needs technical refinement. Zone coverage and overall field awareness are definite areas of concern that will require significant coaching. But these are teachable aspects of the position that our staff excels at developing. What truly separates him is his competitive mentality. On multiple plays, he's beaten initially, but refuses to concede the route, using his recovery speed to make plays that most corners would abandon. In run support, he takes proper angles and isn't afraid to tackle despite his size. Shows good willingness to contribute in that phase of the game. Character assessment. Coach Williams couldn't speak highly enough about Cortez's character and work ethic. Maintains a 3.5 GPA while working weekends at his family's restaurant to help with bills. Leads voluntary summer workouts and stays after practice to work on technique. I spoke with his guidance counselor, who confirmed he's respected by faculty and peers alike. She mentioned he tutors younger teammates and volunteers with a local football program. Every conversation pointed to a young man with maturity beyond his years. Development projection. This is a prospect whose ceiling far exceeds his floor. The athletic foundation is there. His movement skills would stand out even among more highly recruited corners. The technical aspects that need refinement, zone coverage principles, route recognition, are precisely where our coaching staff excels at developing. Given his work ethic and physical tools, I project a redshirt year focus on technical development, followed by a potential special teams contribution as a redshirt freshman. By years 3 to 4, he has the potential to develop into a solid contributor in our defensive backfield if he continues his current trajectory. My take? What we have here is a perfect storm of circumstances that creates opportunity. Impressive athleticism, strong character, and a complete lack of recruiting attention. Coach Williams says no other Division I programs have shown interest, giving us a clear path if we move quickly. I've scheduled a visit to Atlanta next week to meet with Cortez and his family. Coach Williams already told him about our interest, and apparently his eyes lit up at the possibility of proving himself at the FBS level. This is exactly the type of developmental cornerback we've had success with. overlooked due to rating, but possessing the physical tools and work ethic to outperform expectations. Let me know if you want to join the visit or speak with him directly. Al. Alright, once again, Al doing a superb job of finding guys that fit the Unheralded Dynasty. Let's go find Cortez. Alright, here we go. Cortez Tutt, 5'11", 177 slot corner out of Atlanta, Georgia. Looks like we'd be competing with Northwestern, Old Dominion, Georgia State, Middle Tennessee, so some smaller schools, which makes sense. He's a one-star. But let's add him to the board, and that'll be 35. All right, so week 7, recruiting in the books, and that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in as we build our first recruiting class for the Unheralded Dynasty. Be sure to tune in to the next one, and until then, keep gaming, keep growing, and keep celebrating those obscure victories. Game on.